Let me make it abundantly clear that there is a huge issue with disrespectful and ungrateful women being absolutely disgusting online these days. I am in no way supporting their bullshit, and my work supports men in every way possible. That said, while some men's channels frame themselves as defenders of masculine character and speakers of autonomy in a feminized culture, what they actually offer is an emotional dumpster bin for men to vent and commiserate with no tools for growth and no solid call to meaningful masculinity. In the modern online economy, emotional chaos sells. There's no doubt about that, and we all know it. And for men, no genre proves this better than the rise of male creators who build entire platforms around reacting to women's TikTok videos. Now, I don't know what's more difficult for me to watch. This?
I think that we should start robbing men who invite us to their homes on first dates.
Even a top tier man is just an average woman.
Stop being nice to men.
Or this.
Damn sure she paid her way through it by spreading her legs.
They don't actually know how to get a guy.
Any woman who talks like that is enough to make any man turn to abstinence.
Hey, I'm Todd, and thanks for stopping by. I'm a researcher, an author, and the guy behind the upcoming book, Rules of Engagement. In just a moment, I'm going to break down the impact of men's reaction videos in which the creators spend 20 minutes ranting about TikTok women in a way that's actually detrimental for men, and why that content is not leadership, it's just more online complaining that does men more harm than good. If you haven't seen them before, the format of these reaction videos is very uninformative. Most of them are faceless male creators who play clips of horrible women ranting, often from the dating, feminism, or self-help areas. Now, their content does occasionally include clips from quality women who respect men. However, the more chaotic or emotionally unregulated the woman appears to be, the more effective these guys' content becomes. Now, this approach bothers me not because of the reality of the issue, or because what they're saying is untrue, but it bothers me because they project under the guise of helping men when there's no depth to what they have to say. It's all just complaining, and the themes are always predictable. I mean, how many different ways can someone say modern women are entitled, confused, and unrealistic? If you've seen one of these videos, you really have seen all of them. They're all predicated on moral outrage that keeps men angry and coming back for more. For men who have been emotionally scarred from relationships, maybe they've lost their children in a divorce, or they've been otherwise ignored or emasculated, this content provides them with a steady dopamine drip from externalized validation. Those men, what they really need is real support. But the only message these videos have for them is, let's complain about women again. And it does so with the same emotional cadence, the same validation-seeking, anger, and self-righteousness as women that they're reacting to. Now, these creators, they love to posture as if they're guiding men to somehow be healthier, to be better prepared for relationships, to not get taken advantage of, yada, yada, yada. But they're really just farming outrage for clicks, rather than providing men with motivation or insight to achieve excellence. And one unfortunate and ironic element at play here is that the emotional mimicry. These creators take the easiest route possible to criticize women for seeking validation online, yet this is precisely what they themselves are doing, often without appearing on camera. They recycle the same grievances multiple times per video, chasing algorithmic approval from an audience that is, in many cases, addicted to the sound of the host's disappointment. The deeper concern, however, lies in what this content does to male psychological development. Consuming media that prioritizes outrage over growth encourages men to externalize blame rather than cultivate healthy lifestyles or engage themselves in personal development. See, when men devote their energy to focus on other people's dysfunction rather than using that time and mental effort to increase their own value, they abandon the search for internal control and reinforce a worldview in which their go-to leverage is deflection. And over time, that mindset erodes any real capacity for leadership or personal progress. It's actually intellectually hollow at a time when men lack proper sources of positive information, insight, and encouragement. Now, although these creators often do speak accurately, none of it is informed by evidence or by meaningful life experience that men need beyond anecdotal frustration. There's no model for growth, not even a suggestion that men should strive to be more confident or emotionally healthy. Instead, it's the same dry punchlines repeated multiple times in a single video to maximize engagement and to monetize men's resentment. Quite brutally, they're stealing men's valuable time and mental fortitude and making them worse for it. Lessons from my work and my writing give solid context that while channels like these claim to expose female dysfunction, all they really do is give those women exactly what they want, and that's more attention. Because by reacting to every rant, every ungrateful grenade, and every unrealistic expectation, they reward the very behavior that they supposedly reject. And that's operant conditioning. It's rewarding entitled women's bad behaviors with attention so those behaviors get repeated. These guys debate their values and beliefs through a monitor instead of leading and building men up, which just reinforces the worst assumptions that women already hold about men, that we're reactive, we're petty, and obsessed with them. My writing also addresses the real casualty of emotionally reacting to poor behaviors of women on TikTok. That's calculated and stoic responses. Viewers are trained by this content to normalize authority through words, rants, and ridicule. Yet research and solid theory in rules confirms that filtered, strategic silence is the mark of real masculinity and conviction. Men who do nothing but criticize, even under the guise of so-called helping men, are still giving away emotional energy to people who haven't earned it. Furthermore, these creators seem to violate the very principle they teach, which is also harmful to men who need real support. They claim to protect and to promote masculine values, but they spend their time and attention on the lowest effort content on the internet. By obsessively reacting to women with no more than shallow insults like she's a slut or that bitch is fat and no one wants her anyway, they end up repeating and amplifying the very content that they claim to reject. Are a lot of those women sluts? Yeah, probably. And even more so every day. Are they out of touch, obese, ungrateful, needy, and shameless? Yep, I'd believe that they are. And if they have the audacity to blast their bullshit to the world, then they're not worth my time or yours. But these types of channels are not the way to help men. I advise men that attention is a form of currency, and every stitch, every online rant, every sarcastic voiceover makes TikTok therapists and car seat confessional girls more valuable. Believe me, these channels are not reducing toxic feminist influence. They're funding it with their own fixation, and they're draining their audience of the opportunity that's needed to rebuild personal value. My message to these gentlemen is to please provide more substantial content to actually help men who need it, rather than sitting on your ass while watching and talking about other people's content. Hell, I'll even give you some solid content leads and scripts to work with. Lord knows I can't even get through all of it on my own. But start giving men tools rather than just quick outlets for more anger and frustration. Start actively supporting them. Ultimately, these channels do not help men reclaim their masculinity or their self-worth. They just lead otherwise ambitious men to procrastinate their own personal agency. Just like the women they criticize, these channels train men to externalize relationship challenges and to seek emotional refuge from other men. Again, I'm not saying that they're never right, but I am saying that this is not a healthy way to help men. In my work and in my writing, I call for men to express more emotional regulation, more calibrated restraint, and more earned respect, not cheap commentary and the illusion of masculine confidence. I believe that the real mark of masculine leadership is not in how many TikToks you can critique. It's in how few you need to. Gentlemen, if you're done with shallow commentary that just echoes other people's frustration and you actually want to grow instead of watching other guys respond to chaos with more chaos, then subscribe and watch this video next. YouTube's going to pick one out for you. Because my lessons and my advising are not about regurgitating the same cheap content for validation. It's about personal investment, getting disciplined, and reclaiming your authority without apology or validation.